All right. You guys probably already know this, but Snapchatters love games. And even though game development can be a steep learning curve, we've seen creators continue to push what's possible in Lens Studio, coming up with the most creative solutions to fill Snapchat with games. In fact, we saw it last night at the hackathon. You guys scrambled and put together all sorts of components to build crazy games in 24 hours. My name is Cameron Koyama. I'm an AR project manager on the Lenses team. But today, I'm just excited to be up here to talk about ice cream. You see, it's super cheesy, I know, but we love to look at Lens Studio like an ice cream parlor, where you're supposed to mix and match tools to innovate. When I started at Snap not so long ago, I remember stumbling back into this ice cream parlor, as one does, opening up Lens Studio, jumping into the asset library, and just starting to play with things. It was pure fun. The first thing I wanted to do, naturally, was build a game. I found the Bitmoji component and was hooked that I could put myself into the game. I could be the main character, build the game around myself. I could bring my friends into the game. Who doesn't want to yeet their friends in a game? Then I realized you could use the friends component to bring your friends' Bitmoji straight into the game, and my mind just kept racing from there. Could I raise my eyebrows to make a Bitmoji jump? Could I face swap my face into an asset in the environment? Could I make an interactive story where my friends can send that snap back and forth and make decisions to change the outcome of the game? Well, today you can do all of those things. And we're here to tell you about some of those flavors we've got just for games. I promise they're going to make development as fun and easy as a trip to that ice cream shop. But before we get into all of the details, I want to introduce you guys to a long-time Bitmoji expert, someone who's been around to see all of this building, Massey Morris. Massey, can you say hi and then introduce our third speaker?
Yeah, thanks, Cam. I'm Massey Morris, and I work in product marketing here at Snap. It feels like a really full circle moment to be here today talking about games. I joined Snap back in 2019 on the Bitmoji team, and in my first week, I was actually asked to share some thoughts on gaming. And the first line I ever wrote was that Bitmoji is giving games a level up. And now fast forward to today, our strategy around games has evolved, but that line feels truer than ever. And not just for Bitmoji, but for games on Snapchat as a whole. And next, I have the pleasure of introducing Jacob. Among many things, he is our resident game developer, and if you've played games on Snapchat, chances are you've probably played one of his very fun creations. And I'll pass it over to Jacob to tell you more.
Oh, thanks, Massey. I'm Jacob Knipfing. I've been working at Snapchat for about 8 years, but before this, I was working as a game developer. And before that, I was a teenager in my bedroom just making games for fun. And just like Cam was describing about the ice cream shop, that's how I felt about making games. I love to just experiment and play and just see what could happen. When I started working here, that's how I felt about Lens Studio too. It reminds me so much of that fun of just being that teenager in my bedroom, making these tiny little games just for fun. Since Lens Studio has launched, I've been so impressed by all the incredible lenses that everyone in the community has been making. I'm so excited to see the incredible game lenses that you'll all be able to make too with our new game tools and game features. And I know it's fun to talk about making games all day, but we also have to get to business. And I think there's some big numbers you wanted to share.
Yeah, big numbers. Besides the number of times I've replayed some of these like truly addicting game lenses that you guys have made, game lenses across the board have seen some extremely encouraging numbers. First, Snapchatters love to share gameplay. Game lenses are shared to stories or spotlight at over 2 times the average rate for lenses. Second, the audience for games is massive. 175 million people are playing games every month, with growth over 40% year over year. The appetite for games is truly undeniable on Snapchat, and we're excited to tap into this potential. But we also know firsthand that building games is a bigger investment from all of you guys. It's more complex, it's more time consuming, but it's why we're here today. We want to make game development easier. We want it to be worth your time, and we want to make sure you guys get rewarded for embracing creativity and complexity. I think Massey might be able to add to this.
Yes, we have so much to share with you today about how to actually build games, the tools, the features, the best practices. But let's be honest, there's one question we know is on a lot of your minds, and we should probably tackle it right up front. And that's, how do I actually make money from this? And when it comes to games, that question feels especially important. We know you're putting real time, energy, and creativity into these experiences. You want to know it can pay off. And so we completely hear you. And that's why we're continuing to grow programs that give you the opportunity to make money from your lenses. Because creating amazing games is really just the start. We want to help you turn that creativity into a business. And so we call this Lens Creator Rewards, and we've expanded it to include even more ways for creators to monetize their lenses. There's actually a breakout session a little later on monetization that's going to dive deeper into how it all works, but we would love to give you a quick overview now. So we started with top performer payouts, our legacy Lens Creator Rewards program that lets you opt in your lenses to receive payouts from top performing content. And Lens games have already been finding success here. Games make up more than 28% of the rewards we've paid out. And then from there, we recently introduced Lens Plus payouts, which we are so excited about. Public applications for the program just opened up today, so please, everyone, go and apply. Lens Plus Payouts gives you the chance to build exclusive lenses for Lens Plus and Platinum subscribers and receive payouts from eligible lenses. And then beyond Lens Creator Rewards, we also have challenge tags. And earlier this year, we ran a monthly challenge tag called Game Madness, where top Lens games won cash prizes. And kudos to all of the creators who submitted lenses. There were just so many super fun creations. And so across all of these opportunities, Lens games aren't just fun to build and fun to play. They can also become a really powerful new revenue stream for you.
And speaking of revenue, we all know that the more exposure a lens gets, the more money it can make. That's why we're making new entry points in Snapchat for game lenses to become available for players. We want to bring them front and center. That's why we're adding a new game lens entry point to the chat screen, making it so easy to start a game with your friends, with whoever you're chatting with. So we know that people love playing games with their friends, and chat is the perfect place to bring them all these fun, social lenses that we're all going to make. And speaking of social lenses, Cam has a really fun announcement to share.
Yep, I know half of you guys who participated in the hackathon are already familiar with this, but we've introduced an entirely new social lens format, turn-based lenses. Yep, a turn-based lens lets you take turns in a game by simply just sending a snap back and forth. You can think of familiar classics like tic-tac-toe or 8-ball pool, simple mechanics that work great when you're playing back and forth with friends. Or you can go outside the box and invent entirely new turn-based lenses that deliver twists like competitive quizzes, fashion showdowns, or blackjack battles. What makes this lens format so powerful is how naturally it already fits into the way Snapchatters already use the app. We all love to send snaps back and forth with our friends. With turn-based, we're adding a layer of gameplay that makes sending a snap fun and also competitive.
And now we're going to get a little bit technical, but we're not going to go too deep, so you're not going to fall asleep, hopefully. I've been making lenses for a long time, and I know it can be really daunting to start working with a new feature, especially something like multiplayer, which can get really complicated. That's why we've been working on a set of tools and components to help anyone make a turn-based lens without having to go through too much pain. First, we have the turn-based component. It provides everything you need to just start making a turn-based lens. It lets you save data about the current turn or read data from previous turns. And my favorite part is it allows you to test the turn-based lens from right in Lens Studio, making it really easy to switch back and forth between each player as they take their turn. Our next component, turn-based player info, is all about displaying your Bitmoji or the opponent's Bitmoji. So we feel like Bitmoji are a really important part for social games. So we wanted this part to be as easy as possible. You can configure it to show a 3D Bitmoji here, or 2D Bitmoji stickers, their display name, and you can do all of this without writing any code. Like I said, we wanted this to be super easy. And lastly, we have turn-based replay. This is one I'm really excited about. We just released it. This component lets you record changes in your lens, and then on the next person's turn, they can play those changes back as a replay. So for example, in this great mini golf lens made by AOE, I think I saw him here. Good.
Hey.
So you can see my friend Amar took a turn. He sent me a snap, and now I can see exactly how he ended up over there, which is awesome. And I can even skip it if I'm bored. And another example, you could have a racing game where you record one person racing, and then when it's my turn, I can play against a replay of them head-to-head, trying to beat their best score.
Yeah, and speaking of competing with friends, I've got a serious question. Sorry to put AOE on the spot, but does anyone have a higher score than 26 in the monkey spin lens? AOE told me that someone has 36 as a score, and I don't believe it. So until then, I think I have the high score. We're continuing to keep the competition personal with new updates to Lens leaderboards. This year, we've introduced new leaderboard components to make it easy to add flexible leaderboards that really emphasize the competition amongst your friends. We now have 3 ready-to-use leaderboard assets: leaderboard, leaderboard info, and leaderboard core, depending on the amount of customization you need in your lens. Leaderboard is your fully functional drag-and-drop leaderboard asset. It comes with full UI, social widgets to highlight top 3 friends in that lens. It's ready to go, ready to use. Just drag and drop it into your lens. Leaderboard info lets you easily use the data, your friends' names, friend scores, and stream that into text and image components in your lens. And last, leaderboard core is your full headless core API for building your leaderboard and friends ranking from scratch. We've made it easier than ever to turn the competition social, and we highly recommend doing so. It turns a single play into an ongoing competition amongst your friends. I can tell you firsthand that I probably have a record for time spent in a lens just because there was a leaderboard there with my friends' rankings. And while social components and social games are what truly shine on Snapchat, we also want to continue to introduce tools that make general game development easier and accessible to both existing game developers and new ones. We know it can be slow to build from scratch, so to jump straight into game development, we've introduced core game components, building blocks you need for common gameplay patterns. These are really the components that I wish existed when I tried to build a game on the platform for the first time. In just this year, we've taken the components dedicated strictly to games from 1 to now 11. So let me tell you about a couple of my favorites. The character controller is a modular movement system that handles physics and collisions for you. It's what lets you build a game where your character can interact with the environment. You can build platformers, mazes, things you couldn't do beforehand. And it works great with Bitmoji and also your custom characters. The camera controller gives you flexible presets for follow, third person, or orbit views. You can quickly switch between game formats like a side scroller, top-down, or third-person style. And input action is a central hub for creating user input mappings. You can use it to easily add actions to things like taps, joystick, face events, and even microphone input. I used it the other day to make an obstacle course game where you can jump by raising your eyebrows and increase the speed of your character by raising your voice. I think we've even seen new ML models trained just yesterday where tongue is now an input. So we look forward to making that compatible with some of our core game components. These are truly things you can only do on Snapchat. And together, these components save you from rewriting boilerplate code so you can focus on experimenting, prototyping, and just having fun.
Yeah, and so the way that you can mix and match these tools is just like that ice cream shop that Cam mentioned earlier. And at Snapchat's ice cream shop, everyone has their own personal flavor. And that's where Bitmoji comes into the mix. So I've had the pleasure of working on the Bitmoji team at Snap for the past 6 years. And there are so many incredible things about my job. But one of my favorites actually happens when I'm outside of the office. So it's when I'm out in the world and I'm talking to someone new, and they ask me that question we all get. So what do you do? And 9 times out of 10, the moment I mention Bitmoji, their face just instantly lights up. It's like this immediate recognition and spark of joy. And I think that's the real magic of Bitmoji. Because it's not just an avatar, it's your avatar, and people feel a really deep personal connection to it. And that carries directly into our Lens games. Because one of the really powerful parts of building games for Snapchat is that you don't have to start from scratch when it comes to avatars. You can tap into a ready-made avatar system that millions of people already love. Bitmoji is used by over 320 million people globally every day, and we're making it really easy to bring Bitmoji into your games. So let's just look at an example here to see this come to life. You'll see a couple versions of a game. On the left-hand side, you see generic characters. I'm sure it's a solid game, but there's nothing like personal about it. I don't know about any of you, but I don't look at this and feel immediately connected. But on the right side, we add Bitmoji, and suddenly it's a whole different experience. I see my Bitmoji right there in the front as the hero of the game. My friends Cam and Jacob, they're right there in the game. And suddenly the whole thing becomes more personal, more social, and way more fun. So with Bitmoji, Lens games aren't just games. They're your games that you experience with your friends. And just like how I see someone's face light up the moment they hear Bitmoji, that same spark of joy comes alive when you play.
And Massey just showed you why Bitmoji is so powerful. People love it. It makes any game instantly more personal. But let's take a closer look at how creators are using it. First, you can make Bitmoji the main character. That means you are literally in the game, running, jumping, competing. We've seen this in both great first-party lenses and community lenses, and it creates an immediate connection when you and your friends are turned into the characters in a game experience. Or you can also use Bitmoji as a secondary element. Stickers, selfies, cameos, or even reactions. These add a playful, social layer without driving the core gameplay. And again, we've seen the community use this to great effect. To make using Bitmoji in games even easier, we've built the Bitmoji Suite and the Bitmoji Player package. Bitmoji Suite is your all-in-one Bitmoji editor. You can swap outfits from the fashion library, apply animations, or even generate stylized props from just a text prompt. And the Bitmoji Player package gives you a drag-and-drop, controllable Bitmoji character that is fully customizable with core game components.
All right, I think we could probably spend the rest of the day talking about Lens games, but I know there's a lot of other amazing sessions going on. And as we wrap up our session, maybe let's just take ourselves back to that ice cream shop with all of the flavors and combinations. Building games for Snapchat is just like that. It's fun, it's playful, and it's creative. And while there isn't a single recipe for success, there are 3 things that we would love for you to remember coming out of this session. So first, games on Snapchat can be real opportunities. Creators are already making money from this, and we're expanding the programs to make that easier. Cam, want to take the second one?
Second, you already have the tools. Core game components, turn-based play, Bitmoji. You don't have to start from scratch. Starter projects for turn-based, leaderboards, and now a Bitmoji platformer game are all live right now. Best practices docs are ready, and more is coming soon. Jacob, you want to close this out?
Sure. And third, there's already a huge audience waiting for you. There's millions of Snapchatters playing games every month. And with our new entry points like chat, you'll have a better opportunity than ever for your games to spread. Now, we've shown you a lot of really cool stuff today. When you put it all together, we're not just trying to build another mini game that you can play on any other platform. We're creating new kinds of social play, games that are built to bring friends together and can only exist on Snapchat. And I think Bobby revealed this earlier today, so we're working on some new types of synchronous gameplay too. So this will be really exciting, but that's pretty much all I can say right now. So here's what we're asking you to do. Go try our tools and build a game. It's going to be really fun, I promise. Just go, play, experiment, make something really cool. That's what we're asking you to do. Now, let's all go make some games.